Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Sever7, and today we are taking a look at the CKF Sokosha, and that's with the ultimate goal of seeing if it's worth adding to your collection or your daily carry rotation. Now, this knife did come from Rob's Nerdy Knives. Huge shout out, Rob. I appreciate you, bro. Thank you for allowing me to check out some of your cool knives. This was designed a collaboration between Anthony Marfione and Custom Knife Factory. And the OEM for Custom Knife Factory, to my knowledge, is not known. So I've heard some rumors and some speculation, but I don't want to lock in on anything because I'm really not sure. So, but it is a Chinese OEM. Now, jumping right into it, well, actually, let me say something first. What I like about Custom Knife Factory is that they bring some really cool custom knives into production models. That way it's more affordable for the masses, right? So like, a custom version of this knife might cost $2,000 or whatever. I'm just throwing a number out there. But with Custom Knife Factory, they bring it to production, and while it's still expensive, it's much more palatable than, $2,000, right? So I really like, I know other companies do similar things, but I feel like CKF really goes after some big name designers, and they get some really iconic models into production versions. So very cool. All right, so all blacked out, hardware, thumb studs, blade. This is a DLC blade. It's just matte. We've got really nice carbon fiber inlays. The only thing not blacked out is going to be this glass breaker, which I would move. I would completely take it off. I don't know if it's required to hold the pocket clip or something, but I would just completely, look, instantly a cooler knife. See? Instantly cooler. We don't have matching carbon fiber on the back, which I think is a real missed opportunity. They had the ability to do it one for one, and they didn't. We also have this this plug-in, so this thing will actually charge your cell phone too, with this little wall-mounted outlet. So that's cool. We do have a nice fat and flat milled titanium deep carry pocket clip, like ultra deep carry. So that's always nice. We have I believe this is the Marfione logo, which is kind of cool. It's just this little like stealth dagger. On this side only, I kind of wish we had it on the back side too. We've got this chamfer to kind of lead us up into the thumb flick. Back here, it's just flat. So I feel like we have some missed opportunities. Overall, it's a cool looking knife, but I feel like it's crazy because like this is flat, totally blank, and it just would have been so much nicer to see this stuff on the other side. Even if it wasn't to the exact same level, just putting a strip of carbon fiber in here to show some sort of like uniform design elements, because like I couldn't tell this was the same knife if I saw it this way and I saw it this way, right? Because this looks obscenely blank. So just a pet peeve. Oh, we do have a spot for lanyard hole, or for lanyards. All right, let's talk a little bit about the ergonomics. This is a big, easy knife. Ergonomically, very comfortable. This chamfered spot here fits very nice. A pocket clip completely disappears in the hand. No hot spots to really speak of. These edges aren't knocked down, but they are smooth, right? So they're not sharp. There's no pokey bits. If for some crazy reason you were to squeeze right here, it's pokey. So I wouldn't. But ergonomically, I wear a large size glove. I can hammer grip it. I can easily forefinger it. And this choke up spot is functional, but you have to trigger squeeze it, right? Now, the way they have the edge terminated means I have plenty of clearance. Even if I push up, I have plenty of clearance between me and that tip, right? Even if I push up really hard, I'm in no danger of getting clipped by the tip. So you can't necessarily do it like this because it's not shaped for that, right? We've got an inward, like an inward curve and an outward curve. So this isn't ideal, but if you trigger squeeze it, then it works perfectly as a choke up spot. We have nice functional jimping on the blade and back here, which means if we're choked back, we can still lock in. If we choke forward, we can still lock in. It's easier back here because you have 3 rows of jimping in one spot. So this will actually lock you in. If you go up here, it's not going to lock you in. It's just going to give you a little extra traction, right? We do have jimping down the backspacer, and I actually totally skipped over the backspacer for some reason. This is a seam construction, so it looks kind of like an integral, but it's not. We've got this functional jimping going up the spine, and I say functional because whenever you lock in, these jimps are pushing right into your hand very comfortably, and that's going to give you a little more traction to keep the knife in place and in your hand. So whenever you're slicing through boxes, you don't have to worry about, the knife slipping or anything like that. You can really lean into the push with this knife, but which makes it functionally fantastic, and it has been. But ergonomically, very comfortable. Not a hot spot to speak of. I mean, even if I white knuckle it, I can feel it, right? I can feel the edges. They're just not hot spots, right? I'm aware that they exist under my hand, but nothing that would deter me from actually using this knife. Let's talk a little bit about the blade. So we've got a big bellied clip point blade. Clip point because it looks like somebody clipped part of the blade off. We are rocking M398. So M398 is everyone says this, but it's just like a much better version of M390, but it has some trade-offs, right? So M390 is not a tough steel. M398 is less tough than M390, right? So we lose 1 point of toughness. That can be mitigated to an extent with blade geometry and blade stock thickness. So we're still fairly robust to the tip, but then we have this big flat ground belly that's going to take care of all the slicing we need. M390 is very corrosion resistant. And M398 is still very corrosion resistant, but it loses a point there too. What you get in return, though, is you get 3.5 points of edge retention, right? So instead of being a 6, you're a 9.5 or a 9, right in that range. But M390 is weak with edge retention. M398 crushes edge retention. So if you don't mind losing a point of toughness and a point of corrosion resistance, but skyrocketing your edge retention, then M398 is going to be a good blade steel to gravitate towards. It's actually one of my all-time favorite blade steels because I don't mind offsetting the toughness with geometry and then just enjoying the corrosion resistance and enjoying the edge retention. So, and functionally, I kind of alluded to this, but just based on how the grip sits in your hand, your ability to really lean into your cuts, this is something I would take this to the factory. If I had to cut boxes for 8 hours, I would happily take this with me to do that. Let's talk a little bit about the action. So we'll do acoustics first. So the deployment is loud, but a little muted. But the drop is crispy as all get out. I love that. So the acoustics on this knife are fantastic. The feel of deployment feels good. It feels snappy. You do get a little extra resistance just because of the blade finish and how it rubs against the detent ball. Now, I haven't put any KPL on this, and I'm sure if I did, that would help. But I wanted you guys to get the full experience of like what this knife will be out of the box, not what it would be, you know, with like lube and stuff like that on it. But overall, the action on this thing's a delight. It is a big knife, but it is very fidgety. Although, if you have a spouse that doesn't care for acoustics, this one's going to get pretty annoying pretty quick. But all modes of actuation are fantastic. I did try to front flip it. I know there's nothing there, but I tried because there's a little something there. Can't do it. Yeah, I didn't think so. All right, so let's talk a little bit about specs. Overall, we're at 8.25 inches. We have a 3.75 inch blade and a blade to handle ratio of 0.75 with a weight coming in at a very chubby 5.2 ounces. Let's do some size comparisons. First up, the milled aluminum Civivi Brazen. This is the third best Civivi ever made next to the Visions. We have the real steel Sylph. And then my favorite budget knife of the year so far, the Migron Gotov. This thing's $29 and some change, under 30 bucks. And you get D2 and aluminum. Fantastic value. All right, so we're coming in a little bit bigger than the Brazen, quite a bit bigger than the Sylph, and then like double the size of the Gotov. All right, so what's the price on this bad boy? So in this configuration, because there was a lot of different variants, but in this configuration, the best I could see was $550, right? That's not the cheapest I saw it. There were some that were scuffed and discounted for those reasons, but by and large, this is a $550 knife. Is it worth 550 bucks? I'm going to say no. Why is that? Right? Because there's CKFs that go for a lot more than 550 bucks. And to that, I'll say you're right. However, I don't consider CKF to be, you know, substantially better than We. And We is another Chinese OEM that people criticize for being overpriced. And to some extent, there's some truth to that. But if you were to take the We knife Ator, which was priced in, I want to say, around 400 bucks, it was an integral. And a very clean aesthetic, you know, very unique design. That's an integral coming in at 150 bucks lower than this, with arguably better fit and finish. Now, there's some other differences. The Ator, I believe, was M390. It was not DLC. So I don't think doing a matte DLC and upgrading to M398, I don't think that's worth 150, 175 more bucks. I think there's markup here just because CKF. You know, and while I do really, really enjoy this knife, I mean, to me, this is like a $400 knife, not a $550 knife. I know CKF has awesome machining and awesome, you know, fit, finish, and quality, but so does We. This is also seam construction, not an integral. So, I mean, like, best case scenario, you could say, okay, fine, the We's 400 bucks as an integral, and the CKF is 400 bucks, not integral, but with carbon fiber inlays, M398, and a DLC finish. It's like, okay, I can see that. And I mean, if it was priced at $450, it wouldn't be the end of the world, right? I mean, if you love the knife at $450, fine, pick it up. But to me, it's just not a $550 knife. I mean, there's nothing going on here, like the $400 price tag for Chinese knives is pretty significant. Like once you hit 400, you have to bring something extra, whether that's an integral, mirror DLC, you know, some sort of like zircotie or something. You've got to start bringing those elements into the fold. I mean, for, you know, I think for like, you know, $575, you could get the Ator. Well, maybe it's closer to $6, but you could get some Wii knives that give you Damasteel and Timascus, right? You know, and this is $550. So to me, the value isn't there to justify the price tag. I think at $400, it's a great buy. At $450, that's about where I would expect it. Right? Just putting this knife on paper, that's about where I would expect it. But you know, $500 I think is too much, and $550 I definitely think is too much. So maybe that's a hot take, or maybe everybody thinks that. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't seen a ton of reviews on this knife. But to me, $450, absolutely. Anything above $450, and we're starting to really drop off as far as the value this brings to the table. And don't get me wrong, I know Anthony Marfione has to get paid. I know CKF has to make a profit. I get those things. But with the Wii Tour, Dalibor had to get paid. We had to get paid, right? They made it an integral. You know, great fit and finish on it. I just don't see why this knife commands, you know, what I want to say realistically, the actual price for the Ator, I want to say was like $375. So I just don't understand why this commands an additional, you know, $175, if my math is right. 550, 370. Yeah, I don't know why it commands an extra $175. I mean, it's just the math isn't mathing for me. With that being said, though, I still love the knife. I mean, if we remove price tag from the equation, is this a good knife? Oh, hell yeah. This knife is awesome. I mean, the acoustics, the usability, you know, this is an expensive knife that you don't feel bad putting to use. The DLC is going to keep that blade protected from scratches and things like that. You know, the fit and finish on it is still excellent. It like truly, it's a wonderful knife. And if money was no option and you just want to know, is it a good knife or not? I'm going to say, oh yeah. Yeah, I have no doubt if you buy the knife, you'll enjoy the knife. It just so happens to be at a price tag that I disagree with. But that's just my opinion. I'm far from an expert. I don't know all the pricing or all the intricate details in the background. You know, there's a million things that could justify this price that I just don't know about. I'm just observing it compared to its realistic competition. And yeah, that's kind of how I'm coming up with my opinion. So for me, daily carry. For you, is it a collection piece, daily carry, or does this knife for some reason just miss the mark for you entirely? I'd be really interested to read your thoughts down below. If you guys like the video, hit the like button for me. Please don't forget to subscribe. And until the next time, guys, peace.